Yes, everybody. My name is Stephen Howson. This is Full-Time Devils. United have lost at Anfield 2-0, and no one's shocked at all, to be honest. It's hard to know where to start without feeling like you've repeated yourself 400 times in years. Actually, I remember doing a Google Hangout video in about 2014. It would have been 2014, saying it's gonna fucking suck, and it might suck for about 5 years. That was a fucking year ago. I thought it'd take 5 years for United to totally strip back everything that we were and become a new football team, the proper post Sir Alex football team that I knew needed doing. What I clearly overestimated was the ability of the board and the desire of the Glazers to actually invest into this team. If you look at Liverpool over the last, let's say 2012 when they won the League Cup. It was 2012 when they won the League Cup, wasn't it? Something like that. It was around then. Let's just say it was. Since then, like, they had major issues with their owners, the Hicks and Gillette lot. Constant moaning about them all the fucking time. And they'd spent money. And the interesting thing on that one is the Glazers have spent money. The last 5 years, they've spent a lot of money. But when you look at the football team that takes to the pitch today, where's that money? Okay, Luke Shaw was a signing, Lindelof, Maguire and Wan-Bissaka were signings, De Gea was a signing for 19 million 10 fucking years ago. Fred was a signing, but then Anthony Marshall was a signing, but you're like, it doesn't feel like we've had any sort of value for money. It doesn't feel like there's been any sort of structure and planning to these signings. And the squad depth that we've got is fucking embarrassing. They brought on, who was their free subs? It was Origi, Fabinho and Lallana, right? Those free substitutes, good players, more or less. Some of them definite backup players, like I think Lallana and Origi, certainly the second choice player, but they're good players in their prime. We don't have that. We're bringing on a Juan Mata, which I think everybody agrees is beyond his best by a stretch. And Mason Greenwood, who's 7 years from hitting his peak. So the distance between the two clubs is vast in the the 17-18 that take to the pitch, because it is the first team and the subs. When you look at Liverpool's recent recruitment, it feels like most of their signings have been successful. It feels like that because they probably largely have been successful. And you look at our recruitment, and the three that we've signed for now felt largely successful. But at the start of Jose's reign, a year into Jose's reign, you'd say, and I remember saying, actually, we were due a dud because Bay was a success at that time. Mkhitaryan was a success at that time. Zlatan was certainly a success at that time, and Pogba was a success at that time. A couple of years beyond that, and now you're looking at a different team in a different manager's image, and would you call Bay a success now? Very injury prone. Was Zlatan worth it? I mean, he did well for Zlatan while he was here, but did he maybe hamper the growth and the direction of the team, transition into something else? Would you call Pogba a success now? Mkhitaryan? Don't think you're calling him a success now. It's hard to see where the thought and planning has gone into it. It's like we built a house without a plan. We've got like a fucking nice garden and no roof. It's kind of clear to see that Ollie's been told, you need to clear the dead wood. And fuck me, he's been ruthless in doing that. Almost to the point where you go, have we left ourselves short doing this? But what I'll have to say is, I don't believe that the manager wants to do that. I think he's been told to do that prior to any signings coming in. It also shows up, whether or not we get this Bruno Fernandes deal done. Supposedly we agreed terms with the guy for 120 grand a week, which is what we was paying Ashley Young. So when you look at the potential productivity of a first team player in Bruno and the potential productivity of the backup right back and third choice left back in Ashley Young, costing us the same amount of money every week, you can see the absolute joke of how this football team has been managed over the recent years. And until we get that strategy right, until we get that management right, it doesn't matter who the fuck is in charge. Like, literally, fucking give me any manager in world football, Pep's lost Laporte and they're shit now. And he's still got £300 million worth of defenders to play with. Ollie's missing Scott McTominay, who's been top for us lately. Rashford, who is our best player this season and should be an absolute shoo-in for player of the year. And Paul Pogba, who could probably be considered to be our only legitimate world-class footballer. The fact we're in 5th is nuts. Our starting 11, I'm not sure you could be confident in saying it's in the top 5 best starting 11s in the Premier League. So why do you expect that starting 11, regardless of who manages it, to be any higher than that? Now, before you all start commenting Chris Wilder, Chris is doing a fucking brilliant job, and he's a massive outlier. It remains to be seen how he's able to follow that up the next season if they end up with European football, because that's a massive factor. So many times you see teams that don't have European football, especially when they're tactically heavy teams, that they have an entire week to plan what they're about to do, and that then results in them overachieving in the league. It's very difficult to fight on multiple fronts. You know, we've gone to the semi-final in the League Cup, although I don't expect us to go further. We've had a replay in the FA Cup. We've got for a group stage in the Europa League. And actually, several of the players that are featured for us have also been in the fucking leasing.com trophy. I don't want to say it's going to suck for another 5 years, but I'm pretty sure it gets to 10 before we win a title. Does anyone disagree? Laters. I'm done. See you in a bit.